This is week 10 in Tampa and my last week before heading back to work. We started the week on Sunday by checking out Picnic Island Park, and we got absolutely destroyed by bugs while we were out here. It also started to rain, so I spent a decent amount of time in the car to protect my book, but after that I was ready to go home. I dedicated a decent amount of time to my sourdough starter once again and posting all my plant chore videos after finally getting them repotted. I thought I was going to bake sourdough bread earlier in the week for the second time, and you're watching me realize that I didn't think my starter was ready to bake with, so I decided that it was time to do all of my going back to work errands so that I could get those off my list before I started my job. In just one day, I got my vaccines, my nails done, I went to Costco, got an oil change, got gas, and got my car washed so that I could be ready to go back to work. Later that week, we checked out Cypress Point Park, which is by far my favorite local spot right here in Tampa for Charlie to fish because there's such a cute little beach that I could sit on, and somehow I managed not to get bit up by bugs this time. We stayed there until sunset and then decided to head on home. I got a migraine and took my first rizatriptan. It was life-changing, so if you're a migraine girly, I would highly recommend talking to your doctor about actually getting on something prescription and stop your suffering, because I don't know what I was doing my entire life. Before I knew it, it was Life of a Showgirl Eve, and I was back at it baking bread again. That night, I listened to the new album, and I did really like it. And then the next day, I baked another flop loaf of sourdough bread. I'm still perfecting my skills in my starter. I'll come back to sourdough when I have a little bit more time and I'm more established in my job. On Friday afternoon, I went to get my hair done. I went to Josh Coy in Tampa, and he did a beautiful job. That night, Charlie took me out to Eulalie to celebrate my new job, and we got to try a bunch of interesting dishes there before we walked around on the river walk and got some ice cream cones. Don't worry, mine was dairy free, because the next morning we were off to Silver Springs State Park. My dream since long before moving to Tampa was to see a manatee, and I knew it was the off season and that the chances were low, but Silver Springs State Park really delivered, and I got to see 3 manatees during the off season. We saw one alone at the very beginning of our kayaking journey, so I was set from there on out. Anything else was a bonus. And then we got to see a mom with her baby, and that was my dream come true. I got to take all of these videos underwater with my new phone case, and I really didn't know what they looked like until after, and I'm so glad I get to take away all these gorgeous videos. This was the perfect way to end week 10 in Tampa. I will never forget my first time seeing a manatee.